Hello, this is Craig Thompson with Asset Solutions. Bitcoin has been in a decisive downtrend since November of last year. However, over the past 2 months, Bitcoin has stabilized and is now consolidating. So the question lies, are we going to see a breakout to new highs or a breakdown below support to new lows? That's what we'll analyze in today's crypto update.
Before we dive in, please keep in mind that all content is purely education. It is not intended for you to use to trade your own account, nor is it a solicitation for business by our firm, Asset Solutions.
All right, we are going to start by looking at Bitcoin over a longer term basis using a weekly chart. Then I will flip over to the daily chart and really focus in on the last 2 months where we've started to see some consolidation. So in front of you is a weekly chart of Bitcoin going all the way back to 2013. It is most of the price data is contained within this ascending price channel. The lower end of the price channel is this lower ascending line. The upper end of the channel is this line right here. And then I've got notated these two horizontal lines are major areas of support, which are sitting right at about 30,000 and 20,000. And so the thing to notice here is this area, and let me kind of move in real closely. So what you'll see here, this area here is the area of consolidation that we have seen over the past 2 months. You can see the price data that preceded it was a definitive downtrend. This area of consolidation will be easier to see on the daily chart when we flip over to that. But the thing to notice is if we look at previous breakouts, that'll give us some clues as to what to look for in regards to evaluating any breakout that we might get above this current area of consolidation. So if we look at prior successful advances or breakouts, you'll see here this breakout here, which was the start of this move higher, which lasted for quite some time, occurred on high volume, like we've stated multiple times. On any breakout, especially within the crypto space, you want to see that breakout occur on higher volume. And so you can see here the price action or the breakout occurred below the uptrend line here, which is the lower end of the channel, and the breakout occurred on substantially high volume, which you can see when just comparing it to the volume that we're currently seeing over the past year in Bitcoin. And you can also look at it relative to the horizontal line, which is a 21-day moving average of volume. If we look at another breakout, you can see here, this was a breakout because I don't have a line drawn, but right here there was a strong area of resistance that had been in effect for a couple of years. And so this breakout, we saw price move strongly above that area of resistance, and it also was accompanied by very high volume. So that's what we want to see on any breakout on the weekly chart if we're looking to enter into more of a longer term position. Now, a few things to be aware of with regards to Bitcoin. Over the past 8 months, Bitcoin has been highly correlated with equity markets. In front of you is a chart of Bitcoin in the upper panel, and the lower panel is the S&P 500. And you can just look at the two charts and see the correlation. Now, the other thing to notice is Bitcoin seems to be leading the equity markets. And you can see that with my notations here. You can see Bitcoin topped out in November of last year and headed down and made a lower high, whereas the S&P made a higher high, but ultimately broke down at the beginning of this year. And so Bitcoin was a leader to the downside. Now it looks like Bitcoin has seen a series of higher highs right here, or at least has bottomed or consolidated right here at support, where the S&P has made a series of lower lows. So maybe what we're seeing over the short term is Bitcoin leading equity markets higher. That being said, in my analysis of equity markets, what I've noticed is a lot of my underlying technical indicators are suggesting that at least in the short term, equity markets look really strong. But over the longer term, we might see some pretty stiff headwinds that would negate any longer term move higher. And when I say longer term, we're talking 2, 3, 4, 5 quarters out. And what are some of those negative factors that are going to adversely affect the equity markets and the crypto markets over the long term? Well, one, we have persistent inflation, which I don't see going anywhere anytime soon. We've got a Fed that is aggressively increasing rates and probably will do so throughout the end of the year. The only thing that would stop them would be if they break something and the economy falls into recession. 3, we've got the odds of recession going up dramatically over the past 6 or 7 months. You've got we're very close to an inversion in the 2-10 yield curve, and we've got substantial geopolitical risk. And so there's no way to tell how that's going to adversely affect markets. So there's a lot of unknowns out there over the longer term. So maybe what we see in equity and also Bitcoin is more of a short-term move higher before a resumption of the downtrend. Now, here I flip back over to that same weekly chart of Bitcoin, and there are a couple things in the price chart that has me concerned that even if we do get a breakout, it's not likely to be the beginning of a new long-term uptrend. It might be shorter in nature. And specifically what I'm talking about is just the location of where price is breaking out from on a longer term basis. So you can see here, price is breaking out from this level here. But I would feel a lot more confident if price was breaking out closer to the lower end of the price channel, which would be this line here. Additionally, I would feel even better if it was happening off of a major level of support, which would be this horizontal line here at 30,000. It's support because of all of these touches here going all the way back to the beginning of 2021. But you can see here, price kind of created its own support here. And so again, if it was down at 30,000, or even better yet, if it was down here at 20,000, this is major support by virtue of these highs going back all the way to December of 2017. If we saw price was bouncing here at major support below the lower end of the price channel, then I think the odds that any breakout would have longer term implications would be, I'd be more confident of. But the location of the breakout has me worried that any breakout we see is going to be more short-term in nature. So now let's go ahead and flip over to the daily chart. In front of you, I have flipped over to the daily chart. What you'll notice here, this is the high set back in November in Bitcoin. This line here was a downtrend line that defined the downtrend off of those highs. You had a violation of that trend line right here in early February, and since then prices consolidated below resistance and above support. In this area, this line would be support, this line would be resistance. So if we see a breakdown, what we would see would be a decisive move in price below this area of support, which is right at about 37,000. Keep in mind, support and resistance isn't a specific price, it's more of an area. If we see a violation below this area, then I think the odds are extraordinarily high that you'd see price fall down to that next level of major support, which would be 30,000. Now, on the other hand, if we see a breakout above that sideways consolidation, that would be a potential buyable event. Normally, what you want to do is buy on a strong move above resistance. That level of resistance then becomes support. So you want to buy in this area. You want to confirm that you're seeing that advance occur on above average volume. Because I feel the odds of that occurring on higher volume are relatively low, you might want to manage that risk by either a combination of position sizing. So don't go with your normal position size, do something quite a bit smaller. And if that trade works out, you can add to it on short-term pullbacks. And then add a stop price, a price that you're going to sell if you're wrong. And you'd want to put your stop price probably somewhere in this area. Why this area? Well, this area would provide a stop below an area of support. So hopefully, even if you see some weakness after you buy it, that support holds and your stop doesn't hit. If your stop gets hit, you look on the bright side, you've minimized your losses. So that would be the mechanics of any trade that you would take. And if you have any questions, please feel free to shoot me an email. Hope everyone has a wonderful weekend. Take care.